kings and queens doing tremendous things. I am Altitude, representing Building Narrow Minds, the hip hop workshop, and I'm renovating minds one rhyme at a time. And today, on this episode of Soundcheck, episode 38 to be exact, I have my first ever reoccurring guest on the show, the lovely, talented, incomparable host of the podcast, Miss Krystal Linson. So, what do you want to talk about?
So, what do you guys want to talk about?
Some people say being in a relationship could be scary, or they're terrified to be in a relationship. They are very scared to waste their time with someone, getting to know somebody. They're afraid to pretty much put their vulnerability out there because they think their heart is going to get broken, even though it's been like broken through many pieces.
Okay.
And I don't know if you've ever been through that situation, and why do you think people are like kind of afraid to be in that situation?
Why people are afraid to be in relationships?
Yeah.
It's an interesting question. I think it can have a lot of things to do with traumas that they've experienced, bad relationship experiences as far as abuse. It could be physical, it could be verbal, it could be mental, spiritual. It could even be financial abuse. That's a thing that most people don't want to take into account or address, but there could be many things and reasons of why somebody does not want to be in a relationship. Whether they've been divorced, whether they have kids that they have to look out for, because some people with kids, they don't want to get married because you have to bring that new person into the relationship and the kids have to get used to them. There's a lot of factors that could go into relationships, and I feel like a lot of times, especially for us, because since we're both Christian, I feel like, we don't talk about this enough, the difference between like courting and dating and how to date, dating with intention, things of that nature. So I feel as if, matter of fact, let me change that because I like to change my verbiage. I like to, as my mom would say, season my speech. So instead of I know that people don't like to address these different topics because it's not only is it taboo, it's uncomfortable.
Yes.
Having this conversation that we're having right now, it's uncomfortable. Yeah. So, not for us, but for a lot of different people, it can be, it's hard to make eye contact. It's hard to sit down and listen to somebody. Respect has to come into the picture. There's a whole lot of different things that play into the gambit and the fabric of having a healthy and successful relationship. So, I feel like that all can tie into it. But how do you feel about it?
I kind of want to pick up from since being divorced, pretty much before I got married, I kind of wanted to be in a relationship, kind of like my parents. Because my parents, they was in church and, they got married really young. And, they was married for a long time before he passed. They were married for 26 years. So it's like that was my inspiration of like, okay, this is what I'm looking for. This is what I need. This is what I want. This is what's going to happen. And then when I thought I found it, and when it went the way it did, I just kind of was lost.
Okay. So when you say you thought you found it, were you in love, or were you in love with the idea?
I was in love with the idea of having someone with that could take care of me, stability, protection. He was in the military. That was a big thing for my family. It's the fact of he had both his parents. Even though they didn't stay in the same house.
Right.
But he still had that that family, and that's what everybody's seen. But of course, behind closed doors, it was a whole new type of work. Okay. So after the divorce, it was like, okay, now I don't know what I want. So I pretty much just dealt with what I got. Because in the beginning, it might be peaches and rainbows, but once you get inside, can you handle that battle? Of being vulnerable, or just kind of putting yourself out there, or losing your quote-unquote identity of being with someone. People can, that's going to be literally overwhelmed.
Okay, so since you've been divorced, let's hop on the topic of that. What do you think about marriage, as far as the idea of marriage, as far as how marriage should be perceived? Do you think that it should be easier than it is? Is it work, or does it depend on the people, the person that you're with, in order to make a successful marriage?
You know, a lot of people, they like, well, okay, so since I've been married, I don't knock it. I would like to be married again, but since I know, and people might think that marriage is literally, quote unquote, a contract. You know what I'm saying? Because I wish it was easy just to be like, hey, you mine, I'm yours, you know, period. Let's have babies and call it a day. You know, let's live our life. But now it's like, I gotta pay money to be with you forever, and I gotta pay money to break up with you. That's scary.
That's a bad business.
It's a bad business deal. That's a bad business plan. We didn't have no type of blueprint. We just said, hey, I love you, you love me.
Right.
Let's go to the courthouse, boom, boom, boom. And if I don't like you no more, I think I'm done. We gotta go pay more money. But if you are willing to do the work, I feel like marriage can be for anybody if you're willing to do the work. Now, a lot of people are scared to get married because they don't want to get a divorce. That's literally the simple
I'm in that
thing.
boat. Because I've always been under the impression, and I've always made the statement that I will never get divorced. And I know they say never, but I'm in the perfect position to vet who it is that I'm going to be with for the rest of my life effectively. So I'm not just going to make a random choice or, go with just anybody. So I always hit people with the I'm flattered. I appreciate.
That's how you turn it down.
That's how I turn it down. I say I use the F word. I use the F word.
Stop.
I'm flattered, but I just at this time I would just rather stay single and be in a relationship. And the bad part about it is that people out there, and especially society at large as a whole, think that, oh, he wants to be single to sow his royal oats. He wants to be single so he can play around and do this and sleep around and all that. No, my thing is, a man's singleness is the most precious thing that he has. And if he doesn't cherish it, if he doesn't value it effectively, if he's not working on his career, his business, stacking his money, getting his life in order, and working towards something, then by the time he gets ready to be with somebody, he's going to regret it. He's going to want to go back. He's going to want to be single again. And I was telling you off camera, remember I told you about that interview that I watched? Yeah. So it was this random family. I don't remember who it was. You know how you just stumble across stuff on YouTube? Yeah. Like, who is this? But how is this in my feed? But, it was this family. And the mom asked the dad in front of the kids, if you had one thing that you could change, would you change it? And the thing she was talking about was, oh, well, if God granted you the access and the ability to be able to go back and be single again, would you? And he told her right in front of the kids, babe, I love you. I love the kids, all this, that, and the third. But even though I love my life the way it is, if I had the option to go back, I would go back. I would just stay single. That is a crazy thing to say in front of the kids, in front of the wife.
But she asked.
But not only did she ask, he was being truthful. And I'm wondering, he says he didn't regret his life. He loves his kids. He loves his wife. Never cheated, this, that, and the third, all that. I want to die old with you, all these different things. But when she asked him that, hey, you giving me the option, I'm going to take it. I'm going back. I just stay single for the rest of my life. And I was like, why? My thing is, and so that's a good question to ask men and women, especially people who love being in their singleness and working on their purpose and things of that nature. Why do you want to be single? Because that's the thing that I feel most people don't really understand when they ask that question. Okay, you want to stay single, but why? You don't want anybody, because eventually, yeah, I would love to be married. I would love to have kids, all that. But you can't just do it with anybody. And my mom has asked me, how come you're not married yet or anything like that? Like, I don't want to just sleep around. I don't want to just, have kids with anybody, because the thing about it is, even if you just have kids with that person, but you're not married to them, you're still contractually and morally.
That's a big word.
Yeah, you're morally married to that person because you have kids with them. You're going to be tied to that person for the rest of your life, whether you like it or not, through the kid. So my whole thing is, if you're going to be with somebody, choose wisely. Don't just be with them because of a feeling. Don't just be with them because you love them. Don't just be with them because it makes you happy or you feel good in the moment. You have to look at it from a long-term perspective. Like, can I spend the rest of my life with this person? I think that's a very important question that a lot of people do not ask themselves.
And I think another thing, ladies and men, if you want to be in a relationship, if you're really ready, if your gut and your mind and your heart is saying, all right, go for it, don't go guarded. Because it's a lot of people that will still go into relationships so guarded that they can't even enjoy their, significant other.
I'm guilty.
I am too. I was gonna say I am too.
Especially when you done been through some.
What? Like,
the walls are up.
Man, let me tell you a story. Can I give y'all a story? I know y'all love my stories.
Go ahead.
So this was literally after my divorce. So, like, I think a good year after my divorce, I started dating this guy. And I could not. I used to just cry in front of him when his voice started to kind of get a little, like, not high, but when they be like, yo, talk to me. And I be like, I get like, yo, like, stop yelling at me. Like, I start arguments because it's like, I'm waiting for you to say something so I can break up with you. You know what I'm saying? Instead of having a conversation. So literally, we finally sat down one day. He said, yo, are you good? Like, I'm trying to, text you. You stop texting me back. I be calling you. Don't call me back. And I finally tell him, look, I'm still I don't like this. I feel
so. This was right after your divorce?
A year after my divorce.
So you dated somebody else, but you wasn't really.
I wasn't with it. And
so are you saying you didn't take the time to heal as well?
Nope. Because you want to know why?
Why is
like, people was in my ear about my ex-husband. People was still talking about my ex-husband. And every time I look on social media, I see about my ex-husband. It's a lot that was going on as far around my ex-husband. Like, people that didn't even know we was divorced was still sending gifts. And it was like irritating me. So I took it out on this guy. Real nice guy.
Okay.
But finally, when he broke up with me, so I was just like, okay, you know what? And I was hurt. Cause not just because he broke up with me, but it's like, dang, Chris, why you just couldn't get no clarity before you just moved on?
Right.
I thought the phrase, when you get over one man, get under a new one.
No.
Don't ever.
Not the ways of the world.
That was my mindset. Was like, shoot, to get over one, just get another one, and then get over him, get another one. Get over him. That was a whole routine for me until reality check set in.
Okay.
A reality check set in.
So what changed your mentality from that?
When I started messing with when I started messing with dudes who lied about being single, and they had a whole other life, that literally popped me on my head and was like, Chris, you too old for this. Get it together. Because I told myself, the next guy, Lord, if it's your will, make it plain. The next guy that comes in my life that's supposed to be for me, that's been my husband. That's why I'm not rushing. I'm not searching on dating sites looking. I'm literally just sitting back, just chilling.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, don't get me wrong. It probably was somebody I was like, that's probably my person. But then it's like, I don't know, Lord, make it plain if it is. If it's not him, just send a sign, But nah, your girl is cooling. Your girl is chilling, Because when Krystal get remarried, hey, what?
Yeah.
Nobody gonna know. After probably like 6 years, they be like, oh, you married? Yeah, y'all married. 5 kids.
So since we're on the subject of marriage, the funny part about this is that, what I wanted to ask you was, how do you feel about the whole wedding thing? Because
it wasn't for me.
A lot of parents.
It was not for me. It was for them.
A lot of people, women specifically, they dream of their wedding day. They dream of the gown. They dream of getting walked down the aisle, different things like that. But what is it for you that you're looking for? Since you've already done the whole thing, you've already had the big wedding, the dress, all these different kind of things. Mm-hmm. So now, when you get married again, what are you seeking from a marriage? Are you more concerned about the wedding, the honeymoon, like where are you with that?
So for one, since I already did it, mm-hmm. I think it's more so to see like what my future husband, how he feel about it. Because mm-hmm. I don't want another wedding. For once, my dad's not here, mm-hmm. and he's the one that walked me down the aisle, so I will feel weird mm-hmm. for somebody else to walk me down the aisle. And for two, I really focus on the honeymoon. Mm-hmm. Like I didn't have a honeymoon, mm-hmm. so get me that. Give me that.
Give me two beliefs.
Like for real. Like at first I didn't feel like I was like I do another wedding. I want this, but now it's like, bro, let's go to the courthouse. Yeah. Call it a day and go eat some food and
ceviche on the beach.
But I'll have a reception. I'll have a reception, okay. You know, go to my grandma's big backyard, go outside. Hey, we'll throw a whole barbecue. Don't play with me. Hey, don't play with me. Hey, introduce us with a rib in my hand. I don't care. Nah, but I'm not with the prissy stuff. Now, if it's his first wedding, like, if he said, hey, babe, look, I know you already had your wedding. Mm-hmm. But but I don't want to know if I find a man like that.
If he want to go all out.
Yeah. Yeah. If this is what he wanted, if he was like, I want to give you a wedding.
And the thing about it is, I think we need to make it clear to whoever our significant others are going to be too, because I would tell somebody like, I don't even want a big wedding. Like, here's the thing that I think people don't talk about in relationships and when it comes to marriage in general. What are not what you like, what you dislike, what you want, don't want. What are your desires? I feel as though, or I know as though we don't talk about those things. What do you desire? Because wanting something that would be the equivalent of seeing something on Amazon. Oh, I want that, so I'm gonna buy it. Mm-hmm. But desiring something is, I've wanted this since I was a kid. I've wanted this since I was a teenager. I've been dreaming of this. I have to have this. Mm. If it's not like this, then I'm not gonna do it. That's a desire. Mm. So I know that people don't talk as much about desires in their relationships.
What do you desire, though, Jeff?
So desires. I desire, if I am going to have a wedding, because I don't desire a wedding. To be honest, I could care less about a wedding. Like, I don't care about who's there, who's at my reception. Who are these people? Who is that? Who is that? Who is this? Oh, that's Uncle Joe. I don't have an Uncle Joe. Like, who is right, who is this? So my get out of it.
Who left that uncle? Why he my groomsman? Who left him?
So my whole thing is, my desires are what I'll yearn for deep down inside. I don't desire a wedding. Okay. For me, it would just be my mom, my aunt, a couple cousins. I'd have about 5, 7 people there that I would invite. And then you got to think on her side, if she's the same way, that's less than 20 people. That's 25 people.
Not my side. My side will take up. Okay, so you know how in each wedding.
My side is going to be this little strip of the row. And then what? She going to have the rest?
This is okay. So, okay. So, can I use this book?
Sure.
So, I don't know how to cover. So, yeah, right up here. This is you. Mm-hmm. This is my family. Mm-hmm. And the fact that, let me tell you something about that. Mm-hmm. All that ain't even my family. They say friends. And the people that see me grew up, that's their plus one.
No.
That's gonna take up the whole sanctuary.
Okay, so only. If I meet somebody like that, then I'm gonna tell her I don't want a wedding. I don't want a wedding. I don't. I'm to the point where I would be married and it would take people about 3 or 4 years to figure it out. That's where I'm at in my life right now.
Let me find out Jeff married. He just ain't saying Let me find out.
Because my whole thing is because we live in this social media era where we live in an era where posted pics or it didn't happen, all this type of lifestyle, and I hate that. You know, my thing is my life is my life. I want it to be under wraps. The only thing you get to know is what I decide to give you. You don't deserve to know if I have kids. You don't deserve to know if I'm married. You don't deserve that. And you don't deserve to make a comment on my post. You don't deserve to come onto my page and like or dislike. Like, no, I'm not giving you that. Like, what you get is what I give you. So my wife is going to be and also I feel as though, out of respect, that I don't want my babies plastered on the internet. I don't want my wife plastered on the internet for everybody to see. Now, we can take, a cute couples pic or something like that. It's not that I mind that, but I'm very careful and selective on who I be with, because I know that once I make that decision, that's it. I'm committed for the rest of my life. I don't want to sleep around. I don't want to be with a statistic and have a baby mama and all that. I don't want to contribute to black culture, because black culture is trash. Not black people, black culture. There's a huge difference.
And if
you don't know the difference, that's just like people saying there's a difference between, I'll just say, a Negro and a black person. There's a huge difference. And if you don't know the difference, you probably fall into the unsavory category. I'll just say it like that, to keep a clean channel. But yeah, my thing is, and who is they? What they gonna do? Take my imaginary black card? Not invite me to the barbecue that I don't want to be at anyway? Like, what they gonna do? What they gonna do? Right. You are not invited to the cookout.
Okay.
And I want to go to the cookout.
So I think this is another thing that people don't like to talk about. But we.
Who made this potato salad? Who made this?
1 hour later.
As far as the wedding, I'm like, it don't matter, because the wedding ain't even for us. It's for everybody else.
Exactly.
The reception ain't for us. It's for everybody else. Now that honeymoon.
That's what my focus is. We going to Bali.
Oh, not Bali.
We went to Bali. We gonna go to Thailand, wherever.
Oh, Jeff got money.
Hey.
Oh, my bad. My bad.
Hey, you know how
whoever marrying Jeff, y'all to go places, man. Let me find out. Let me find out. He been saving up.
I don't want to know about.
But I think if you've never been married, I think everybody who never had a wedding should have a wedding in some way. Just to experience, just like for prom or anything like that. Any first time, get yours. Whether it's when you first get engaged or if you've been married for 6 years and you haven't had a wedding. I think everybody should have some type of wedding.
And I think that I'm more turned off by the romanticized version of what a wedding is. It's this big spectacle, this grandiose kind of crescendo. Yeah, because people's weddings, they're having. Do you know that the average wedding in America is $45,000? That's where. I'm just saying, people will literally die. I've seen people dive into their savings. I've seen people take out 401k loans on their job. I've seen people sell their stuff, their cars, to pay for a wedding just to get divorced a year later. I'm not doing it. I'm not going through divorce. I'm not going into the family court system to have my family broken up, because we all know that men get dragged through the ringer when it comes to family court, which is, if I was mayor, if I was governor, if I was a politician, I would be changing family court laws immediately, because child support, family court system, like that is literally one of the biggest banes of America's existence, and nobody talks about it.
People so scared to get married. It's so crazy. It's like no matter how much I
have best friends that have went through the family court system. Their wages are garnished. They have to pay child support. They get taken to jail if they lose their job. Well, if I lose my job, how am I going to pay child support and all this other stuff? And the judges do not care. They will throw you in jail in a minute. I've seen it happen. I've been with my friends in court and watched as this stuff happens. So it's not like I'm just talking about something like, no, I've witnessed it. I've seen it. And, I've seen the tears and, kids are crying and all this other kind of stuff. And it's so crazy that the stories that we hear, and now it's happening to women, where women are paying men child support. Like we've seen that happen a lot, and it's really being permeated throughout the airwaves nowadays. But my whole thing is, when it comes back to marriage, to stay on point, there's so many things that I do and don't desire, and a wedding is not one of them. I just desire a healthy marriage with good communication. If I'm going to have kids, no more than 2. I want to go into it with very healthy intentions. Here's what I want. Here's what I don't want. This is what I'll tolerate, not put up with. If you can't deal with that, then I'm out. Because my thing is, I don't need you. I want you. And if you're not going to enhance each other's lives, then there's no reason to be together, because I can do bad all by myself. I am perfectly fine on my own. And what I don't need is for you to bring baggage and drama and trauma into my life. What I need is for you to enhance me the way I am going to enhance you. And if we can't do that for each other, then there's no reason for us to be communicating. That's what I desire.
I ain't gonna lie, I forgot I asked that question. I was like, wait, what? What? Oh, that's good, Jim.
That was good? You like that?
I like that.
That's good.
I feel that.
Like family feud?
I feel that.
Yeah.
So, question.
They weren't ready for that.
At all. Do people even date anymore? I feel like, do people even go through that phase?
They call it that.
Like, no, they call it talking.
Are you dating with someone?
Nah, I'm just talking. We just talking. We chilling.
We just dealing with.
We hang. What? So y'all dating? I mean, what is that? What is that phrase? We talking, but we ain't talking. Right. Like he can date. And I can date. Wait, what? Wait, what is this? What's this arrangement?
What is this?
Because back when
just let me know.
I know back in when I was, of course, younger, like my mature times or whatever. Mm-hmm. When I did finally go out on a date, it's like, okay, you ask me out on a date, and then of course, we hang out, we get to know each other, and we feel a vibe. Then we feel a vibe. If we don't, all right, nice to meet you. Let's go about our business. Unless but they'll throw me away. They say, "Hey, look, we probably ain't had a vibe, but so, what is that? Why y'all do that? What is that? What is that? Don't suck your teeth at me. What is that? You're not getting in my drawers.
Because that's all people want nowadays. They want the superficial, the artificial. They don't want what will actually be a benefit for their lives. They just want something either quick and easy, or they don't want to put in the work for something. And a lot of times, and I can speak for myself, more adamantly, is that after going through the relationships that I've went through and having the experiences that I had, I just don't want to put up with things that I've already been through. Mm-hmm. And you were saying something off camera. You could probably speak to this a little bit about, from a woman's perspective, you not wanting to go through that again because you've already experienced it. Mm-hmm. What were you saying?
So, pretty much ignoring all the red flags. I cannot go through that again because it is some women, not all, and I'm pretty much when I'm speaking for myself.
Right.
Even, I don't care how fine that man could be. I don't care how tall. I don't care how successful. If you come at me at a way that I know that it's a red flag and I ignore it, no, we're not doing that again. Like, if you come at me and if you on your phone while you're in my presence, that's a red flag. If you literally, because literally, we're here.
Right.
Why am I respectful to the point where I be like, I'm shutting my phone down while I'm getting to know you, but you don't have that respect for me. So that's one. For two, if I just met you,
not a list.
If I just met you and you asking me for money, red flag. Ooh. I had guys do that.
Okay.
I had guys do that. Text me and be like, hey, I don't get paid till Thursday. Can I borrow $10?
Oh no.
I don't know you. I don't know you. Like, I just met you. What you mean? And then for three, if you smoke cigarettes, your teeth black. Your teeth black.
And I'm like, how do people smoke cigarettes?
The kids.
Well, no, like smoke cigarettes, drink coffee. Yeah, not the combination.
What?
Not the pick
at
one.
The same time.
Pick one.
Pick a struggle.
Pick a struggle. Coffee or cigarettes. Like, hey, I prefer the coffee. But my whole thing is, people. Man, I'm gonna just say this about I don't get how people in Texas specifically, all my Texans out there, how do you smoke in 100-degree heat? Oh my God, your lungs are just angry. Your lungs hate you. But that's good. That's a nice little list to have as far as.
I mean, it's more, but I'm gonna give y'all three because this be the whole video.
You got one more?
Keep it to three.
Okay. I was trying to stretch it to 4. That's fine. Nah. So that's good. I'm under the impression that you've grown a lot from what you've experienced. You know what you want, what you don't want now. So that's good. Now I have another question for you. And
let me get up.
Yeah, that'll be my last question.
No,
I'm gonna keep it. So as far as a relationship goes, to anyone who sees this video, what are you looking for when it comes to a man? Like, what do they? Because
what do I desire?
Yes, because a lot of people, and especially us guys, we're under the impression that a lot of women don't know what they want. So
and it's true.
And a lot of guys don't know what they want. But from a woman's perspective, and especially you specifically, what do you desire for a man? Like, what are you looking for? Since you've already been through the whole thing, marriage, all that.
Okay, so first of all, he needs to be God-fearing. Faith is my number one priority. Okay? I'm not disrespecting anybody, whoever, I'm not discriminating, nothing. But God is the head of my life, and I would love for him to be a Christian. I would love for him to put his faith as his number one. And for two, like, sorts of income. I'm not asking for a billionaire. I'm not asking for a dude who got, I'm not asking for somebody like, hey, he gotta be a doctor, a lawyer, because they work too much. They work way too much.
You gotta drive a BMW.
Yeah. Now I just need somebody who's really a hard worker, because I work my butt off. I'm not discriminating if he has kids. If he has one, okay, cool. Maybe 2. Yeah, that's fine. That 3, Hey, shout out to all my single fathers. Shout out to all the dudes like that. Hey, but I can't. But if you ain't got no kids, that'd be beautiful. I'm just looking for someone who's passionate. A dreamer. A lot of guys don't have dreams no more. They pretty much just all work and no play.
It's hard to dream when you're living in the nightmare.
Understood. Understood. Like, I have, even you, Jeff, like, when
what about me?
Wait.
Oh, me?
No.
What?
You, okay.
What?
So you ever, stop. Have you ever, and I know dudes like this, and have you ever expressed your dreams to a girl and she looked disgusted?
No. Because I've never told any woman my true dreams.
Why you holding back? Oh, that put you out there? Does it put you out there?
Yeah.
I'm
not tripping. Hey, this is what we do on sound check.
Okay.
This, one thing about sound check that I want this channel to be about is that not only is this a music channel, but the subtitle at the top of this YouTube page says music, culture, and lifestyle. And one thing that I don't want to do, I would be remiss if I only focused on the positives and the good things and talked about the music only, but I ignored the culture and the lifestyle. Because the culture is what we embrace, the lifestyle is what we live, and the music is who I am. Okay. So all of those things tie in together. So when we're talking about something like this goes into our culture that we embrace. This goes into our lifestyle that we live, and a lot of people don't talk about this. So I don't mind putting this kind of information out there, because when you talk about these kind of things, it can help somebody else who views it. That there's no bias, there's no leaning towards the left or the right, there's no agendas, there's no, righteous bigging up, women for the sake of being, so pro-femininity, or there's no toxic masculinity. It's literally right down the middle. This is right, this is wrong. These are the things that we need to talk about. Yeah. So I think it's a healthy conversation that we're having. So, with that being said, why have I never told a woman that I've dated my dreams? Would I be wrong if I said maybe I never got to a point in those relationships where I feel they deserve to hear it? It could be a little selfish, but one thing I know is that you have to protect yourself. You have to protect your dreams. You have to protect your goals, and it's better to be selfish so that later you can be selfless. A lot of people hate the word selfish, especially when it comes to the Christian community, because the word selfishness is frowned upon in the church, it's frowned upon in society, in the community. But the thing about it is, when you're on a plane, what do they tell you before takeoff? If there's an emergency and the air masks drop down from the top of the plane, put your mask on first before you help the person next to you. Is that considered selfish? No. You cannot help anybody who's next to you until you help yourself first. It's kind of like a broke person saying, I want to give out money. What money? You ain't got no money. You don't have anything. So what can you give? You can give your time, but even your time is money, because we trade time for money. That's what we do when we work. So going back to the whole dream thing, I just felt as though it was something that I had to protect. I don't want to give out information or things about myself to people who I'm not going to be invested to for the rest of my life. And clearly those relationships didn't work out. So maybe it was a good thing that I didn't, because, once you get to a certain point in that relationship, you can kind of tell if it's going somewhere or not. And one thing about relationships, we should be mature enough as adults to say, you know what, this isn't working out. You're a good person, I'm a good person. We just aren't good for each other. You go that way, I go this way. And a lot of times we don't do that. We kind of like what Dan Cook said in the stand-up. Let's just stay in this thing, until it doesn't work anymore, and end this thing violently. Like that's how a lot of relationships turn out. Yeah, toxicity. Instead of just being mature and say, hey, you know what? This isn't working, is it? Nah, you're right. It's not working. Your vulnerabilities can be weaponized against you, and that's what a lot of men are afraid of as well. I've even said it in one of my songs. I said vulnerability is my ultimate fear. So if you're going into it with that anxiety, with that fear, with that hesitation,
then just step back. Don't even try it. Don't even try to fight it. Just stay where you at. If you come at me, and if you know I'm just this great girl, she funny, she laid back, she hard work, she know how to cook, she do this, and she do other extra activities that I like. But if you come to me, if you still guard it, back yourself back. Because I don't need you second guessing while you're with me. I need you all the way with me. I don't need 25%. I need, give me...
In or out?
Yeah. I don't need the left foot in and I don't need the right foot out. I need you all the way in me.
Okay.
You gonna come in the door, like open this door. Don't leave the door open, letting the flies in. Come in and close that door.
Not the metaphors.
The flies are the hey, I'm just saying. So, my fly slide. But yeah, I don't need all that. So that's my desire. Krystal don't ask for much. Really, because Krystal can do it herself. But the reason that I want you in my life, because first of all, look at me. Won't he do it? And then for two, nah. On some real stuff. And then also communication. If we can have a good communication to the point where I done had a great communication, a good conversation with someone before that we talked from like the sun was up to sundown. Like, it was dark. Like, we had no light on. We just chilled. We relaxed. We conversated about like 18 different conversations. I love stuff like that. I don't ask for much. I ask for the most simplest thing. And guys make it hard for me. Like, they make it so hard on themselves to the point that they be mad I don't lower my standards no more. Like, they get mad when I actually know what I want. They get upset when I'm not lost. They get upset when I'm not toxic. Like, what is that? Yeah. I know it has to probably do something with home. I don't know. Or probably something to do with marriage. I don't know. It could be either or. But
it could be a lot of things. Like you said, it could come from traumas that they've experienced. It could come from, toxic relationships, childhood, father not being in their lives. It could be all sorts of things. So, that's why I think this conversation is so healthy for us to have, because, you don't talk about this on a regular basis. You don't talk about this with your friends, your homeboys, your homegirls. Like, you're not having this, especially your parents. You're not having these conversations. So that's why I think this conversation is so dope.
It's very therapeutic.
So to end on a good note, Krystal, this was such a healthy conversation. Thank you for coming back.
Give me some water. That was a lot.
I know. Thank you for coming back and being.
It's great to be back. I like the call.
Yeah.
You moved?
Yeah. I've done some things. I've done some things with the place. Yeah. So I haven't been here long. Been in this new spot for couple months now. Oh, I love it. Yeah. It's probably the best spot I've been in so far. So, just I'm growing, I'm elevating.
Look at you.
I'm elevating,
You're probably gonna have your own studio within a year. Let me find out.
I'm elevating. Right. So this must be G14 classic. I saw Rush Hour the other day. So before we get up out of here, let the people know what you're working on, anything that you have, what's going on with the podcast. My biggest concern and question to you was, were you ever going to transition to video? Are you going to step up and get on YouTube? Or are you going to continue to push out more audio, like on Spotify, things of that nature? What's going on with the podcast?
So, why you put me out there like that?
Hey, the people want to know. The people got to know.
So, I do have 2 new videos two new podcast episodes that I'm working on in the next 2 weeks and then next month.
Okay.
And it's gonna be visual. Oh, so this is an exclusive.
Okay.
I'm going on video in the next 2 weeks. So, thanks the Lord.
How are we doing? Are you starting a channel? A YouTube channel? Oh,
This is exclusive.
Okay.
I was gonna surprise y'all, but here it is.
I understand.
Yeah. So thanks to him, this is an exclusive. So in the next 2 weeks, you will get the first visual of the podcast in the next 2 weeks.
Okay. Cool. Awesome. So, are you going to? Well, I don't want to ask too much.
Please don't.
I don't want to ask
Dang,
too much. Okay. So, this was good. So we got a new exclusive, you know, on Soundcheck. So that's dope. So when you do visuals and you start doing video, I'm gonna come back on your show. Go check that episode out where I was on her podcast. I'll put the link to her podcast and that episode down in the description below, so y'all can check that out. I'll put her Instagram, Facebook, all that, so y'all can go find her, follow her, all that jazz. Subscribe to her channel when it comes out. When that channel does come out, I'll update the description and put that down below as well.
Let me find that out. You just so happy you got this.
Hey, that's an exclusive for me.
You weren't even gonna find out until it would pop up. Like
I see.
Until it popped up, you gonna be like, wait, my eyes deceived you.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I see. So, you know, I'm super happy about that. That's dope. When you go to video, I would love to be a guest back on your show.
Look at him.
So that would be super, because you were the first reoccurring guest on my show. So I would love to be. Yeah, look at that synchronicity. Look how we building and elevating each other. That's dope. So
I'm so happy to be back here. I'm very glad that we had this conversation. Like, hopefully this is a good starting, reoccurring, you know, I'll be back, like, probably like 2 more times, you know, if needed. Right. If needed, of course. So
that's super dope. I'm happy for you. I'm glad that that's going to be in the works, as well as thank you for coming on and having a dope conversation about relationships with me. I feel as though, matter of fact, I know that it's healthy. It's needed. We need to stop making it taboo. Stop making it taboo to talk about finances. Stop making it taboo to talk about relationships. Have the hard and real conversations with each other so that we can build and elevate each other and not make this thing so complicated.
And women,
because it's not complicated, we make it that way.
And women, don't be afraid to set the truth. I know it hurts sometimes that we don't want to hear it. I know it's going to put us in the mood, but the more that we hear the truth, the more that we can work on and making our relationship stronger, because that's what it starts. It starts with the truth. Don't ask for the truth if you can't handle it. If you can't stand the kitchen, get out. Right. Was it stand the heat in the kitchen? Was it?
If you can't stand the heat in the kitchen.
Yeah. I was going somewhere.
It was close enough. Yeah, you got it. So, thank y'all so much for watching. Appreciate all of y'all for helping me get over 100 subscribers. We are just So, thank y'all so much for watching. Thank y'all for helping us climb that hurdle. We are on our way to 500, 1,000. We growing. We elevating. Sorry.
My part is crying.
Oh yeah. Squad. Yeah, we elevating. So I appreciate y'all.
Fan name?
You
got a fan name?
What you mean?
Like a fan base name for your subscribers?
Nah. You know, sometimes I call them ascenders, you know, my ascenders out there, you know, we elevating altitude, you know, so we climbing. Yeah, we growing. So, you know, my ascenders out there that are watching, you know, so I may go with that. I may stick with that. But thank y'all so much for watching. I appreciate you. I love you. Hope you got something healthy and nourishing out of this episode of Soundcheck, episode 38 to be exact. I am Altitude. This is Krystal. And I am building their minds one rhyme at a time. And until the next episode of Soundcheck, I will see you guys when I see you guys. Peace and one love.